The continuation of another video of me faffing around, believe it or not. Right, so I am cooking pork braciole on the back of the stove here. It's bubbling away, it's been bubbling away for ages. Lots of water, lots of liquid has come to the top. So there's lots of solid vegetables at the bottom, but lots of kind of like tomatoey, watery, stocky stuff has come to the top with some fat as well. Which kind of, if you wanted to make stocks a little bit thicker, you kind of generally have to evaporate that off through kind of boiling. But then I was kind of curious, and I've been swimming, and I always have a bit to think when I'm swimming. And then I broke all the rules with cooking pasta, and I cooked pasta in a tiny a little bit of water, and then I made it was pasta griglia, I still can't pronounce it, and I feel slightly ashamed of myself, only slightly. And then I did it through just a tiny amount of water in the pasta water instead of loads of pasta water, and then kind of formed the sauce that way, because a lot more starch came out of that little amount of water, and then that starch formed a better sauce for that pasta dish. So then I was thinking, could we cook the pasta in that watery, stocky stuff from the top of the from the pork braciole, and kind of do it that way, and how would that turn out? And then kind of use that as the stocky sauce. It's got a bit of fat in it, which kind of maybe that'll kind of work. And then we've got some pecorino cheese. Well, it's just cheap Italian cheese, cheap Italian hard cheese. And then, so could we kind of make a? Would that work? And would that kind of happen? So instead of using the pasta water and the starch from that, could we use the tomato water and the starch from that, and would it kind of work? Maybe. And I was kind of thinking it kind of maybe would. So let's have a go. So I don't want any of the solid vegetables in there, so we'll just strain some of the water off the top of that and the fat, and the fat will stop it from the starch in the pasta from wanting to boil it over. So we'll just be getting a few dishes from one, I think, because I'm not going to serve the pork with pasta. Although I could do, but I'm not going to. So I think that's probably about enough water to start off with. Well, juice, and then I've just softened the pasta in some hot water, just so it fits into the pan, so it's not going to start burning on the side of the pan. So we'll do that, and then we'll turn the heat on. And there's going to be quite a lot of starch in that water as well. So the idea is that by the time the pasta's cooked, the liquid will have evaporated, and then it will be quite easy to form a sauce. So maybe I could have, if I was thinking a little bit more ahead of time, maybe I could chop some of the pork from the meat, because there was some offcuts of pork in there, so I might have, in retrospect, I could have used maybe some of that pork to run it kind of through the pasta. But what can I see? So would and also maybe this would be a viable way of cooking the pasta to actually serve with the pork braciole. Maybe, you know. So I'm just kind of curious. So maybe that's what I would do to kind of like make the pork braciole go even further, and to kind of like make the pasta taste of the pork braciole. This is how I'd kind of cook it if I was planning more than I actually am doing. But you can see it's got a nice colour to it, and it's got that nice amount of fat in, so it'll probably taste really nice. But we're just kind of curious to kind of see. I'll pause the video. You don't need to, it's going to be cooking for 10 minutes. 8 minutes now, I would have thought, would be the pasta. Probably even less, maybe 5 minutes, because it wants to be al dente. So hopefully, by the time the pasta's cooked, the liquid will evaporate off, and then we can add some pre-grated Italian hard cheese. It's just the cheese. It's just the cheap stuff. If I'm faffing around, I don't really want to be buying expensive ingredients, like proper pecorino or proper parmesan. It's just, I'm faffing around, so I might as well just buy the cheap stuff. And also, it's kind of a lesson that you don't have to kind of buy the really expensive stuff to get to make yourself some nice food. You know, you can buy cheaper ingredients and just with a little bit more care you can make something a little bit more special. So anyway, we'll let that cook, we'll see how it goes, and we'll see. But it should work. It should work. Or if it doesn't, it doesn't. It'll be interesting all the same. Right, so liquid has, let's turn the heat off. We'll turn the heat off and we'll bring it up to the camera. So lots of the liquid has evaporated off and we are left with a glutinous sauce in the bottom of the pan with the pasta. The pasta's just about al dente. So turn the heat off, and then the pork from the pork braciole isn't quite tender enough yet, so I can't really add that. So that was an afterthought. And then, so add some pecorino cheese, and then let's see what happens. It should form a cheesy tomatoey sauce. Like that. Probably a little bit too much liquid. That looks lovely and luxurious. There's probably a little bit too much sauce. Probably just a little bit too much sauce. But that works, does that? We've just got these vegetables that we strained out of the liquid. They can go in for a bit of colour. But I think this is what I'd do. If I was to serve the pork with pasta, this is how I would cook the pasta and then serve the pork on top of it. I think that would work really well. I don't know enough about Italian food, or as if that's what type of thing they do, but interesting. That's lovely looking sauce, is that? Really coating the pasta. Just about the right amount of sauce. You tend to want a high ratio of pasta to sauce, a tiny little bit of sauce for pasta. But there we go. Shame I haven't got any cheese put on top of that. But turn that down. But there we go. I think that works. I think that works really well. Tastes like some taste the sauce. Yeah, that's really nice. That's going to be a really nice pasta dish. I don't know what it's called. There must be something similar. There's nothing new underneath the sun. We just need to move that pan off the back. It's boiling a little bit too much, but we have to move things around for the camera. It comes with a smaller gas jet at the front there. But anyway, yeah. So this is a companion video to the pork braciole experimenti. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy that, and I'm starving.